I decided to do the hardest challenge of my life, running my first ultra marathon. I can't run now, legs are so stiff. How am I gonna do the next 5 kilometers? I just did this to break a mental barrier I had. Have you ever felt that you had this huge amount of potential but you still did not achieve what you wanted? That was me for a very long time. I came to Canada in December 2022 and since then I stayed in this victim mentality and never took proper action. I decided to do my Mishogi of the Year, a concept I learned from a book called Comfort Crisis. You put yourself in a situation which challenges you both physically and mentally. November 2020, where it all started. I was weighing at about 100 kilos, around 220 pounds. Extremely unfit and lazy to a point where walking up a flight of stairs would make me breathless. I read a book called The Miracle Morning and then I started to work out. Neil then introduced me to running. He would run at 4 or 5 am in the morning before even school began. My first run at 5 am, my eyes and legs were burning, fingers and nose were extremely cold. It was a shit show. I couldn't run for more than 20 seconds without having to stop and breathe. What inspired you to start running?
Something just came in my mind, like, let me just go running one day in the morning. So I just woke up at like 4 a.m., went running on the road next to it's like a long bypass, 12 kilometers or so.
On your first day?
Yeah. But I even had asthma. When I used to go running, it never affected me that much for some reason.
Okay. What valuable lessons did you learn?
I've learned several lessons from all this. The one thing, there's one quote that always like stuck in my head, which is mind over body. Whenever I go running, hiking, everything else, my legs will be paining, chest will be beating faster, your heart is beating like crazy that time. You even get cramps.
Yeah, your mind is like shouting, stop. Yeah, and you're just like, nah. I read this book from David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me. It really changed who I was and it showed me how my perceived limits were stopping me. After that, I really started pushing myself. The first time I applied the 40% rule was on a treadmill at a gym. I was running and I kept telling myself 30 more seconds. I ran for another half hour. There was this dot on the wall. I kept focusing on it. When I got off the treadmill, I saw myself. I was wearing a grey t-shirt and I saw 2 streams of blood coming from my chest till waist. There was a hard pinch on the t-shirt that kept rubbing against my chest and it caused these scratches, and because I kept running, I kept bleeding. The point when you start feeling the pain isn't the point where you should stop, but an indicator that you are stepping outside your comfort zone. I did my first 12 kilometers. I didn't want to be miserable alone, so I tell this guy Vishal to go run at 5 am too. We do our 21 kilometers in an afternoon to train for a full marathon. It was a miserable run. We did not drink a sip of water or eat any food till like 16-17 kilometers. We were just pushing through the pain as both of us had. They don't know me, son! Phase on.
First would run for a minute, then we would stop and literally sit on the side of the road, regain energy.
That was
in front of the
16th kilometers.
Yeah, then after that we drank water. Before that we didn't have any kind of food or fuel. That's what really messed us up.
Yeah.
I was doing a half marathon. That's only before the marathon. I got a knee injury and I couldn't run. Vishal was doing a full marathon. I remember I was standing on the queue and I had one person in front of me. And Vishal kept telling me to do the 42 kilometers and do the full marathon. He came and dragged me to the 42 queue. Our fuel for the race were lunch bars which we ate after every 6 kilometers.
Oh, while you were running, the mentality was different. We didn't know whether we would or not, but we were like, just gotta go with it.
After 13 kilometer mark, things started to go wrong. Vishal started having issues with his shoes and I started having pain in my right knee. but we keep on pushing. We hit another wall at 21 or 22, I think. Both of us are done, but neither one of us wants to quit and give up.
There was this time period like I couldn't run and you couldn't run.
The issue was with the shoe. Each and every step I was taking, it was like just poking. I think that hit me like, if I go to do it right now, it's right now. Otherwise, it's nothing. Like, just right now.
I start this podcast on my phone of Goggins and I start to run. Vishal was still struggling with his foot. I keep on pushing forward and he kept getting farther and farther. Then he starts to catch up and we just keep running. Both of us are having our own demons. My quads are on fire. Each step felt like needles being poked. He was having his issues with his foot, but we keep pushing. We reached the 32-kilometer mark and we were stopped by the police. The roads were opening earlier than the scheduled time. We were on the time to complete the full marathon in 6 hours, but we couldn't do it. I remember we are sitting on the side of the road. There was like a footpath, looking at each other like our soul was taken from us. We had given our all, pushed through all the pain and suffering, and in the end it was for nothing. That race changed the direction of my life. After that, limits were just mental barriers I had. I had thought that 21 was my limit, but I just ran 32 kilometers and would have been able to do the 42 if the roads did not open early. What was I truly capable of? We told ourselves that we would train better and join another marathon, but that didn't happen. Months went by and he got busy in college and I got an internship and I got busy in that. Then I get my visa and I come Canada. Running a marathon was a dream forgotten. I was on a call with him one day and I was like, we have been whining and complaining instead of working with what we have. So I had bought this book. It was another book of David Goggins, never finished. I stopped listening to music and I would just blast this book on repeat. I just hear it again and again after I finish it. Then I go to Audible and buy the first book I read of him, and I just keep listening to these two books on repeat, and I noticed my inner dialogue started to change. I went to do a 2-kilometer run in a park nearby, but a different part of me was in charge, and I ended up doing 21-kilometer run with just a half liter of water. It was painful, but was extremely fulfilling. After seeing me do the 21, Vishal did his 21 kilometers too. I then planned to do a marathon, the barrier I had been avoiding for a very long time. I go and search for marathons happening in my area. I found many, but the entry fee was out of my budget. My next problem was it takes weeks to train for a marathon. I didn't have that time. It would be cold and it would just make things worse. If I'm doing 42, why not do 50? And it stuck in my head for a few days. I had bought these bars for fuel for the run, but I still didn't do anything about it, as the thought of running 50k still terrified me. Not sure if I had it in me to run that distance. I wake up, fill my pockets with the bars, put on my running shoes and just start running. I had not trained properly. I just did a run here and there, but I was not consistent with my training schedule or had any kind of training. My plan was to run the trail I had run around 3 more times. I started the run strong, feeling energetic, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna finish it or not. I was doing it alone, and when you're with someone, you can feed from their energy and keep moving. And that's what happened with my first marathon.
10-kilometer mark. Legs are not feeling good already. Yeah, but still a lot of fuel left. So feeling positive.
Things started to go sideways after the 6-kilometer mark. I spotted some snakes on the trails. I didn't know if they were venomous or not, so I decided to change my route.
At 25 kilometers, it took me 3 hours and 10 minutes to complete the halfway.
There was something going on with my lungs. I was not able to breathe properly. I could only take a half breath in. Something breaks when you are pushing your limits to the extreme, and this is a part of the process of we will be.
How am I gonna do the next 25 kilometers? Well, that's the challenge. Let's see.
I was losing water very quickly, and my adjacent stations were a gas station and a dollar store. I kept on buying Gatorades to keep myself hydrated.
Took a break. I had some fruits and yeah, some lime. It was like a 15-minute break. I can't run now. Legs are so stiff.
I also made some lemonade with salt to help me with the cramps. I was not able to run at all. My legs were so stiff that walking was a task. While recording this video, the voice in my mind was asking, how am I gonna finish this? I just have to repeat what I did again, and I was not able to run for shit. My breathing issue kept amplifying the sound.
It's been 33 kilometers and I've been running for past 4.5 hours now. I can't run anymore. Legs are just unbearable. Yeah. But I'm not gonna quit. I would walk the last 17 kilometers if I have to, and we go for another 5 hours. I'm not gonna quit.
My legs had warmed up a bit, but I still couldn't run for more than 2 to 3 minutes. So I would walk, run, and the voice in my head was like, "Can I still do this? Is it really possible?" I had to make a shift in my mindset from can I do 50 kilometers to I'm not gonna stop moving until I reach the 50 kilometer mark, even if I have to walk the remaining kilometers.
42 kilometer marathon mark, and in the last stretch pushed the last bit a lot. I don't know where I got the energy for running, but still found to push myself. But really struggling right now. It's like I hit another wall, so just trying to push through it.
After making that shift, I ran for another hour. I had no idea how I managed to do that. It was like I tapped into this energy I didn't even know that I had in my body. I was cramping, but I still kept pushing through.
Each step is taking more effort than ever. It's the last 5 kilometers, and I thought they would be the easiest, and they're turning out to be the most hardest 6 kilometers I've ever done.
I had hit the limit of my body. I could not run anymore. Walking was a task too. I'm overweight, around 80 kilos, so my inner thighs kept rubbing against each other. When they would touch, it would be like an electric shock to the brain.
Just finished the 50k. As you can see, there's no celebration or anything. I just did this to break a mental barrier I had. I originally wanted to do a marathon, but I said, why not 50?
It was a different feeling. I felt I could do so much more in areas where I thought I was not capable of doing anything. This race was against myself, and immediately I finished. In my mind, I was like, what if I can do the 100 kilometers too? I would not be able to do it in my current shape. Yes, I'm overweight, that is my next goal that I want to overcome. I share this video not to share my achievement. 50 kilometers is an entry-level distance for ultramarathon, and my pace was not even that great. I shared this video to share the journey of how I went from out of shape, basically a potato who couldn't run for more than 20 seconds, then pushing through all the mental barriers and being able to run for hours and breaking my own limits. The lessons I learned from running the 50K. You are capable of doing more than you think you can in any area of your life if you decide to go through the pain and suffering. Limits are just self-imposed mental barriers we have. The more we break, the stronger we become. You need to have people like Vishal and Neil who push you and themselves to their limits to unlock your potential and their potential. I'll be leaving the Insta IDs, you can give them a follow, and I'll be adding mine too. After Ultra, my brother did his first marathon, Vishal did his first 50 kilometers, so I've already achieved what I wanted, which is to inspire others. If this video inspired you too, do the things scaring you the most. You don't have to start big, start small, start working, start running or cycling. Check how you did and use that as a base level to keep leveling up. Use this hashtag conqueringmind and tag me in your post. Till next one.